Alright, morning talks with Aaron Finnegan. Alright, so where do I want to start out with this? Have you ever had something that's happened to you that you have really wanted to talk to someone about, but you weren't gonna do that. You weren't gonna bring it up unless you had a good sense like that person was really listening to you, and they would either believe you or they wouldn't judge you for it. Like maybe, I guess a good example would be someone, maybe someone stole from you or robbed from you, or maybe you're a woman and you got raped from somebody or something like that. You got drunk and taken advantage of somehow, and no one knows about it except for maybe you and one other individual. You don't want to bring that up to anyone unless you have a strong feeling like it'll be worth your time to mention it to them, right? Like you'll benefit. You want to, deep inside, you want to talk to someone about some of these things because you're still trying to sort them out. But so anyway, so for me, when I get out of the Navy in 2011, and I was juggling a whole lot of stuff between my discharge and renting out two homes I owned, one in the state of Vermont, one in Georgia. Meanwhile, I'm going to be going to live in a third location in the state of Maine. Going back home, I'd only been home for Christmas vacations and stuff like that for the last 11 years, and a little bit more frequently when I was on recruiting duty in Vermont. I was able to see my dad and my stepmother a little bit more frequently than not, during those 3 years. But so I got all these things on my plate, anticipating, going back home and getting back to my roots and my friends that I haven't seen for over a decade very much. Some of my good friends I hardly ever saw at all, that for nearly 12 years. And I had this experience that happened to me where, I feel a little ashamed to not have come right out and said it to some people, but like, I was not in close communications with a lot of these guys. My personality type was, growing up, was I just wanted to get out of Maine and go do something, go on an adventure, I guess you could say it. I just knew, like at my core, that I was not going to achieve anything if I stayed there. And so I went out. I did a lot of stuff. I worked. I had some phenomenal training in the Navy. I had some amazing experiences and stories I could tell you from in the Navy, and made some new friends, along the way, and they're all scattered across the country. And so I wasn't able to tell any of them this thing that's been on my mind that happened to me in 2010. And I've had a few other experiences that all tied together. I've never been able to tell these things to, but there's two specific ones. I'm not sure which one is more important than the next. Like, when you're a man and you're serious about something, you want, like me, I expect to be, for what I say, to be taken at face value, and just someone to believe me entirely. Like if you had a close relative or very close friend for your entire life, anything you tell them, they don't question, unless maybe something comes in between you that breaks you apart, or one of you are very rude to the other and that breaks your relationship apart. But I had something happen to me that was so important to me, you could say philosophically, I mean, just in life, just being alive. I mean, it couldn't have been more important. So I saw God. I talked about this recently in another video, I believe, and I wrote about this experience on my Facebook. But I was never afforded the opportunity to speak to someone about it face to face, because I never got the sense that the person I was talking to would truly believe me. It would just be a waste of my time, and I would get some response because of other things that I might have talked to people. I'd just get some response of, oh well, blah, 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 whatever. Which for me was the most significant thing that ever happened in my life. And that some very horrible things happened to me following that, but I was able to deal with them because I knew for a fact there's not a lot of people that can say that practice any religion. They can say they believe, and they can say that their beliefs are unquestionable, but in their own minds, they question them. Me, I don't have any belief in a denomination. One thing I do believe is that Saturday is on Saturday, or Sabbath is on Saturday. They call it the Sabbat, which is a slightly different spelling than Sabbath. That's what the Jewish nation calls it in Israel. Around Jerusalem, the Jews, they call it the Sabbat. That's Old Testament, Saturday, the seventh day of most calendar ever written. The first day of the week is Sunday. Seventh day is the Sabbath, which is Saturday. And also, on Sunday, what are you going to do? I mean, you're not supposed to do work and all that stuff. You're just supposed to have a relaxing day. On Sunday, you're going to do like laundry and get ready for yourself for the work week if you work Monday through Friday, right? So it doesn't make any goddamn sense to observe Sunday as the Sabbath as a day of rest. A day of rest. Your family, your friends, maybe you go, you don't have to go to church. You don't have to do that, but spiritually, a day for you to just get your focus and your awareness away from everything that you've been working on the other 6 days of the week, and focus on family and meaning of life and thankfulness for what you have, and that's the only belief that I have. But I know for a fact that God, I mean, I saw him. I saw him. I saw him. I had an experience so profound that, I mean, unimaginably profound. It couldn't have been something that I ever thought I would have experienced. Like, I grew up in the church. I struggled with, questions of faith, I went to church school for 9 years of school, and then, you know, and then, uh, and then church on Saturdays, and a whole bunch of, range of activities for the church. And, sometimes I would pray and ask for things, and I would ask for that, like, if God, if you could just, this core of belief, you want to believe so bad, everyone around you was saying they believe, and you're thinking, I'm sure I'm not the only one who thought this way. So if you just have one experience, you'd believe. So that was up until like the age of 19. And then I went into the military, and then I wasn't really involved with church anymore. I would go to random churches for different services. Maybe a couple times a year to go to a different church down in Jacksonville, Florida, or something like that, and see what they were all about in their congregation. But yeah, this happened when I was 30 years old. I saw God. At a point, at a time when I really needed to see Him, not when I was asking for it. So it was it was a phenomenal experience, and I've never said anyone. I mean, it was the most important experience I've had. I've had some very important experiences in my life before. Some I've talked to people about, but this one was so personal and of worth. Some people, most everybody. I've had this on my mind for 12 years. Wanted to tell somebody this. Most people is just maybe I got close. Some I got closer than others. Maybe mentioning it, but every single one of them was like, well, ain't gonna be worth my time telling this motherfucker. He ain't gonna, ain't gonna mean nothing to him. So, or her, or whoever. Uh, so that's totality of the people in my life, closest friends or whatever. God showed Himself to me, and I had no one in my life close enough to me that I could tell that to, because they wouldn't have cared. It's pretty It's pretty fucking horrible when you think about it that way, right? And again, I don't care how anyone else thinks about it. I'm telling you what I experienced. And for a multitude of reasons, whatever it is, I knew no one would believe me. So that was, that's been going on for over close to 12 years now. But I just started making videos on YouTube. This is the fourth day I've been making videos. So I'm transitioning from trying to talk about this stuff on Facebook, where friends and family are still, my friends and family on Facebook, their news feed and stuff. I've been talking about some of this stuff I've gone through for years, and virtually no one's reached out to talk to me, communicate, be like, Aaron, what's going on? No one's shown any interest, virtually at all, in communicating with me, having a conversation. So that's over with. Wanting that or waiting for that, I'm not waiting for that anymore. I'm gonna make some updates of when I make new videos on YouTube. Like, hey, maybe this video is about such and such. Get go check it out. Anyways,